Welcome to the Cornea Impression and welcome to Vietnam. We are at the factory of VinFast, Vietnam's first automaker, and they have a lot of plans to expand. They want to come into the US, into India, into Philippines, into the Middle East, and they are doing everything in their power to get there with a complete EV lineup. Now, yesterday we did some sightseeing and that was very beautiful. But today we're going to be taking a look at the factory of VinFast here in Haiphong, and then we're going to be driving some of their cars. Now, these cars will be coming to the Middle East, and I'm excited to actually drive them and see if they're going to be any good. So stay tuned for a factory tour of VinFast followed by a drive. This is the body shop layout of the VinFast factory. They can produce close to 250 to 300,000 cars a year. Now the entire body shop can cater to 7 models, and we are going to go inside over there and check it out. VinFast presses all the external panels on their cars. This is a press factory, so they have a mold and a press factory in-house. Once the stamping is done, in the body shop they are joining and welding. It's a completely automated system. As you can see, it's completely run by robots, and it's got multiple levels as wide and as far as we can see. 300,000 cars produced by VinFast a year. This line is manufacturing the VF34. Depending on which side of the body shop you're seeing, there's going to be the VF7, the VF8 and the VF9. Now the VF34 uses predominantly steel, whereas the VF9 uses aluminium because it's a bigger and a heavier car. And depending on which model is there, the alloy varies and differs. So some have more aluminium, some have more steel. VF34 again. This is an assembly line where the trims are assembled for each car. Multiple colors are there on this after the car gets painted, and it's lowered in where these gentlemen start assembling the car. This is a complete EV. So here is a battery pack, and now they're going to make the battery pack to the car. When it used to be a petrol car, it was called the marriage, when the chassis was mated to the engine and the body. So this is the EV marriage. And the battery pack goes inside. Bolted down. And then down it goes. So this keeps going down the line where they keep adding more bits and pieces to it, finishing it further, making the car ready for delivery. This is the VF5 from VinFast. It's already got the battery pack inside. It's almost finished. So now the car is going to go up and turn around and go to the other line. You can see the battery pack underneath it once it goes up, and lets you know that this car is close to production ready. So almost ready to hit the road. Like I said, VinFast can produce close to 300,000 cars a year in this factory, in the multiple lines. So up to 7 models and 300,000 cars a year. As you can see, this is the battery pack attached. The orange cabling means there's a live current under the car or inside the car. So never touch the orange cable in electric vehicle. These are the VF3s. The cars are close to production ready. This is where the VF5 came out from. And as you can see, there are multiple colors on the VF3. Yellow, red, gray. There's even a pink one over here. The cars are almost production ready and will be finished and delivered to the customers across Vietnam. As you can see, inside, regular battery and the motor as well. This is the general assembly line for EV bikes by VinFast. They are close to making 500,000 bikes per year, and they have multiple variants and models, as you can see from the entire line. After the factory experience, it's time for us to experience driving the VinFast cars. We have the VF6, the VF7, the VF8 and the VF9. The VF6 being the entry-level car coming to our region, up to the flagship VF9. The prices are going to be officially launched in a few weeks' time, but our guesstimate is anywhere between $40,000 for the entry level, up to $80,000 for the top-of-the-line VF9 cars. So, time for us to go experience the VinFast cars. This is a VF6. This is the smallest car that's going to be coming on our shore. As you can see, it's got a very interesting look. It's got the signature VinFast V with the light bar in the front, headlights over here, and then you can see how the silhouette is of the car. That's a gray and green. And then when you turn back at the back, you will see a continuous light bar and similarity with the front end. So it's time to drive the smallest car, which is the VinFast VF6. Close to 350 kilometers of range, between 200 to 250 horsepower. It is the smallest car in the lineup that will be available in the Middle East, and also probably the cheapest. Let's go and see how it is. We move it to sport mode just to understand the actual acceleration. Okay. Accelerates fairly linearly. Brakes are not spongy. So this one has good responsive braking. Interesting exterior color. It's a nice green, which is pretty cool to look at. Straight line is good. This is a small and compact car, so seats 4 comfortably, 5 maybe a bit tight. Because this has a smaller battery pack, the acceleration is not as instantaneous as its other siblings, but it is still fast enough for daily driving duties and fairly comfortable as well. But at 140, 150 kilometers per hour, it has a lot of wind noise. So if you're doing a 140 kilometer per hour drive on a highway, the wind noise is going to be a tad bit annoying. We can't do a full acceleration check because there's a car in front of us who's cruising. But yeah, it's fast enough for your daily driving duties as any other EV. Now we have the VF7 over here. The VF7 has a similar look actually to the VF6. It's just bigger, and you have the same look going on over here. As you can see, the light bar over here, and then you have the turn indicators over here. So this is a very cool looking car as well. And then you can see the aero discs on the wheels, and again a similar profile as the VF6 but just bigger. I think the VF7 is a very handsome looking car. It's also the perfect size, so definitely a good looking product. So right now we are testing the VF7. It has a 78 kilowatt hour battery and close to 400 kilometers of range. See how it does. We are driving it in sport mode right now, so the car is quite nippy. Brakes also seem to be okay. You can definitely feel the weight of the car. It definitely handles fairly for a heavy EV car. Everything is managed by this big touch screen over here. We're cruising at 90 kilometers per hour, and then we're going to do like a 0 to 100 kind of experience. Okay, and let's push it. This accelerates fast and it's fairly stable. Like I said, the brakes feel a bit more spongier, still fairly acceptable car. Definitely interesting product. And then we have the VF8. Now the VF8 is a departure from the VF6 and the VF7. So you can see it's got the V logo, it's got a twin light setup over here, obviously aerodynamic design being a EV. Look at the side profile, it's much bigger, much wider, much roomier, also much more aggressive, sportier and butch looking. So it's a much more well-proportioned car over the VF6 and VF7. Again, the rear has a complete different tail light design over the others, so definitely a different looking car. It's time to drive the VF8 right now. It gets this 15.6-inch touchscreen, which is used to control everything. Like the other cars, in the VF6 and the VF7, it's a smaller touchscreen. We get tan leatherette interiors in this. You can spec it with other colors as well. Obviously a beautiful panoramic sunroof. Cockpit seems familiar because we've driven a few other cars. Time to put it in D and go for a spin. Let's check if we can go. Now the VF8 has a dual motor setup, all-wheel drive, close to 400 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds, which we will put to the test right now, and a range of close to 400 kilometers as well. So interesting stats. Let's see how it behaves, how it performs. Acceleration is smooth, brakes are properly responsive. You can understand what they are doing. Handling is actually fairly decent. It enters and exits clearly, accelerates linearly, so it's good right now. There is a bit of wind noise post 100 kilometers per hour, and increases when you add on speed. You get a heads-up display, a lot of features in the car. Time to check how fast this thing can go. Going. 150. Wind noise increasing. Accelerators completely deployed. 180, 190. 200 kilometers per hour. And that's properly fast. Car is stable on braking and manageable as well. So, fairly decent product. These guys have done a good job on the engineering, and the car is stable at 200 kilometers per hour. It's stable. You're not afraid or nervous. The only thing that's there is the high wind noise, which I think over time they can engineer that out as well. Time to go drive another VF car right now. So we have driven 3 of them. All 3 of them have their own quirks and their own interesting characteristics. Now the flagship VF9 coming in over there, and that is a properly big car. So as you can see, it again has the signature V look in the front. The car's coming in, and there you go. Look at it. It's actually a very handsome car, and my favorite from the entire lineup. So it's definitely a long body car. You can get between a 6-seater and an 8-seater version of it. It's got the V at the back as well. Look at that. That's a properly cool car. So we are test driving VinFast's VF9, the flagship car. Dual motor setup, approximately 400 horsepower. So you definitely can feel the weight because it's a big car and obviously has a battery pack underneath it. But otherwise, stable, comfortable. The steering is pretty direct. So when you turn, it turns properly and you can know exactly what it's doing. Interesting experience for the first time. And it's got all the driver assistance and safety systems going on for it. So that's a good thing. Even the suspension feels good on this road. Obviously, it's got air suspension. And now it's time to floor it. Obviously, with all EVs, it's instantaneous. Yeah, it is fast. It is properly fast, but that's how EVs are. But 200, okay. Come on. Pedal to the metal. I'm flat out. 190, 199. And it's very stable under hard braking as well. You don't feel nervous about it. Good car. Good car.
Amazing, brother.
VF9, impressive. Now for a long-term test drive once the cars reach Dubai. That completes the entire driving experience of the VinFast cars for us. It will be interesting to see how they perform in real life once they are in our environment and they have to cope with our kind of roads and heat. When we get the cars in Dubai, we will check and let you guys know how efficient they are once a production car reaches our shores. VF6 over there, VF7, VF8, VF9. $40,000, $80,000, and everything in between, from 300 kilometers of range to 600 kilometers of range. We have it all. What do you guys think? Which one is your favorite car? Which VinFast would you guys choose? All EVs, all different proportions, all different looks. Let us know. And thank you for watching the Cornea Impression. See you guys in the next one.